Hello everybody, it is day 37. I hope you're all still well. I'll carry on from where I was partway through a chapter yesterday. We'll see where we get what happens with the enigma in oil. Dry reeds in a cupboard. Its feathers were bright white, but its orange bill, so they're talking about the swan. But its orange bill looked faded and old. This is so weird, said Isla, staring at it. Surely it's better to see an animal for their real habitat, not dead behind glass. It's a Victorian thing, I said. Mum said it was fashionable back then. I feel like I might have read this, but I'll carry on. I looked all around the inside of the case and then around the outside. Nothing. This is so stupid, said Mason. What's the point of creating a puzzle that's completely impossible to solve? It's a waste of time. I did read this yesterday by now. Isla took the museum leaflet out of her bag and opened it into the map in the centre. Would help if I put my glasses on. I know they're my sunglasses, so excuse me. And excuse that. I saw she'd drawn a red circle around the Egyptian gallery where we'd found the canopic jar and a circle where the model ship was. She took a pen out of her bag and put a circle in the bird gallery. What are you doing? I said. Just making a note of where we find each clue, she said, quickly folding up the leaflet and putting it in her pocket. So is there anything there? Yes, said Mason. There's something around its leg. Mason got down on his knees and peered inside the case. Isla and I dived on the floor to join him. Around the swan's leg and just above its webfoot was a piece of paper. There's something written on it, said Isla. I can't read it, can you? I squinted into the gloomy case. I could just make out the tiny handwriting. Oh, it only says one word. Hawaii. We all stood back up. Any ideas? I said. Isla and Mason looked blank. Hawaii, said Isla, clearly thinking. A state of America. What could it mean? My head hurt. I didn't know anything about Hawaii. I went there once, said Mason. Mum and Dad took me, but I was only 3. Why isn't there more of a clue? I said. One word, that's not going to help us, is it? Isla was pacing round and around. It's one clue, but they always draw us back to the picture, don't they? The ship hidden in it as a rock, and musical notes in the ripples of the river. Maybe there is something in the painting that we haven't spotted yet. Cole, what are you doing here? I said to wait in the foyer. I turned around and saw Mum. Her face looked all crumpled. For a few blissful minutes, I'd forgotten all about the trouble I was in. Now it hit me in the heart with a dull thud. I'd let my parents down in the most public way possible. I'm so sorry about the journalist at our house, Mum, I said, walking towards her. I truly am. I thought she was going to give me a hug, but she just sighed. Marika's office rang. The sale had been cancelled. She told me they were going to release a statement saying, her voice wobbled, saying that they had no knowledge that you had submitted someone else's painting, that you no longer have a contract with the Marika Loft Gallery. The painting has been withdrawn from sale. Fortunately, the highest bidder hasn't paid yet, so that's something to be grateful for. You are very, very lucky that no one is pressing charges against you for fraud. I nodded. Everything just sounded so serious. Declan is bringing Mabel's painting back tomorrow, and then, as far as they're concerned, the whole matter will be closed. How's Dad? I asked. He's okay. I could do with him being home, though. The new sofa is being delivered tomorrow, so I'm going to have to take time off for that. I'd forgotten all about the new sofa. That was going to cost them more money. Can you cancel it? I said. And can you return my trainers? Mum's face looked even more strange. You can't return the trainers, Cole. You've worn them. And as for the sofa, we rang the shop and we're tied into the contract. We can't get out of it. I couldn't believe it. We were worse off now than we'd been before the painting had sold. But that's stupid, I said. The shop will have to let you cancel it. You've got to talk to them again. Cole, I've already begged them, and they refused, Stepmom. Just leave it, okay? Don't you think you've done enough? She took a deep breath and wiped her forehead. This was all my fault. Sorry to interrupt, Mrs. Miller, but we're going to head home, okay, Cole? Said Mason. I'd forgotten he and Isla were there. They must have heard everything. Sure, I said. Isla squeezed my arm. Don't worry, we're going to do this, she said quietly. We've solved 3 of the clues. That's amazing. Let's try again tomorrow. I sighed. At that moment, the chance of doing something right in my life felt utterly impossible. Chapter 33, The Journalists. Mum and I walked home in silence. When we got to our house, there was a crowd of people standing on the pavement outside. Oh no, said Mum. I was hoping they'd be gone by now. Come on, Cole, put your head down. She placed her arm around my shoulder as we hurried past. Mrs. Miller, did you know your son was planning to commit fraud? Are you going to carry on painting, Cole? Does Mabel know her picture sold for all that money? Have you received any of the money from the sale, Mrs. Miller? Have you spent it already? Hey, Cole, how does it feel to have fooled the world? We ignored them, rushing into the house and slamming the door behind us. My heart was pounding. We stood in the hallway for a moment, getting our breath back, and then Mum was went silently to the kitchen. Are you okay, Mum? I said. She looked at me. Her forehead was all wrinkled and she looked close to tears. I'm going to put the kettle on, she said. The house was unnaturally quiet without Dad and Mabel. I missed them. If it wasn't for me, then we'd all be there together. I wouldn't have minded playing the butterfly game. After dinner, I went to my room, as I had a feeling Mum wanted to be on her own. I lay on my bed and stared at the box of paints that was still sitting in the corner. I could see the tubes of paint were all sticky where Mabel had got her messy hands on them. Everything had gone so wrong. I closed my eyes and willed myself to sleep. It was too early for bed, but I didn't want to keep replaying the excruciating moment when my lie was exposed on the 5 o'clock news. My phone beeped. I sat up and took a look. It was a group text from Isla and Mason. Mason, has anyone had any ideas about Hawaii? Isla, I've been thinking. Basil's clues are always hidden in a different part of the painting. The jackal in the wood, the rock or ship in the grass, and the music in the river. I quickly flicked to the photograph of the painting on my phone. She was right. Yeah. Isla, okay, so where do we think the next clue might be hidden? I looked back at the picture. There was something completely obvious staring right at me. Or someone. Cole. Basil Warrington Jones. Mason. Isla. Yeah, this puzzle is like completing a word search. The hidden words are never in the same area, are they? I could see that Mason was typing a reply. Mason. I can't see anything Hawaiian about him, though. I took another look at the painting on my phone and zoomed in on the artist, studying him millimetre by millimetre. Cole. What about the bunch thing pinned to his jacket? They're feathers, aren't they? On the lapel of his jacket was a small bunch of something red and yellow. Mason. Maybe it's something to do with another bird. A bird from Hawaii? Isla. I doubt it. I don't think the clue would lead you back to the same place, in the museum. Let me check the map again. I jumped off the bed and grabbed the museum leaflet from my bag. When I sat down, Isla was already typing. Isla, Anglo-Saxons, geology and world culture are the only areas where we haven't found a clue. I think we know where to look next then. Mason, world culture it is. Let's go and look after school tomorrow. Cole, and Basil said there were 4 clues to this, so this must be the last one. I lay back on my bed, my heart not quite feeling as heavy as it had a minute before. There was still a chance that we were actually going to solve an enigma in oil. I'd let Mum and Dad down so badly that they were so ashamed of what I'd done. Maybe this was my chance to make it up to them. Maybe solving the painting and finding the treasure could make amends for everything I had done. Chapter 34. World Culture. When I left for school the next day, all the journalists had gone. Mum said that she thought they might come back later, but I was just pleased I could walk to school without anyone shouting at me. Unfortunately, people were still shouting at me at school. I heard cheat at least 10 times, but thankfully that was fewer than yesterday. Mason, Isla and I met at lunchtime and talked about what could be hidden in the World Culture Gallery and where it could lead us next. I think you're right, Cole. This must be the final clue. We might find the treasure tonight, said Isla, her eyes glowing. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't dare think we were that close to solving the whole thing. After school, we practically ran to the museum, and when we got there, we headed upstairs and straight into the World Culture Gallery. There was a big sign across the door. Gallery closed. It was locked. Great, now what? I said. Hang on, said Isla. There's someone in there. I peeked through the glass door and saw the back of Dr. Sabine. She was typing on a laptop which was balanced on top of a low cabinet. I knocked and she turned around and came over to unlock the door. Dr. Sabine, we're looking for something. Is there anything in there that has feathers? We're so close. We just need to look for one more thing. Dr. Sabine blinked at me. Whoa, slow down, Cole. What is it you're after? She said. I looked at Mason and Isla. I think we should tell her what we're doing, said Isla. Dr. Sabine looked between the 3 of us. Go on then, she said. I'm all ears. We're going to solve an enigma in oil, said Isla with a great grin on her face. Oh, are you? Said Dr. Sabine, looking amused. You do realise it hasn't been solved in over 100 years, don't you? Yes, but we're really close, said Mason. We just need to take a look in the gallery. Dr. Sabine looked at her watch. She clearly thought we were wasting her time. That's great, but I really need to get on, she said. We won't be long, I said. I'm sorry, said Dr. Sabine. I've got too much work to do. Your mum had to go home early today because your new sofa is arriving. My heart sank. I'd forgotten all about that. Look, I really commend you for what you're trying to do, she glanced at me, but the museum needs to be emptied, ready for closure, and I have to get everything packed up and out of here as soon as it's possible. She went to close the door. Dr. Sabine, said Isla, stepping forward, her voice loud and clear. We have solved 3 clues from Enigma in Oil so far. I'm convinced that we're about to solve the 4th and final clue, and we know that the clue is somewhere in the room behind you. I saw Isla's throat go up and down as she swallowed. Dr. Sabine frowned. I'm sorry, did you say you solved 3 clues? Yes, I said. But how? Isla did the hardest bits, to be honest, said Mason, pointing at Isla, who blushed. It was all of us, really, she said. But we are sure that the last clue has something to do with feathers and might be in this very room. We won't be long, I promise. Dr. Sabine sighed. Okay, she said, opening the door wide. You've got 5 minutes, and then I'll need you to leave. Thank you, Dr. Sabine, said Isla, smiling brightly. And if it's the feathers you're after, then you'd better check the cabinet by the fire exit, she said, nodding towards a dark corner. She turned and walked back to her laptop. We all rushed over to the cabinet, which had a long, dark cloak hanging on the mannequin inside. I thought she said it had something to do with feathers, said Mason. This isn't going to help. Isla stood closer and read the sign. Hang on, she said. Listen to this. It's from Hawaii. She turned and grinned at us. My stomach did a triple somersault, Isla read out loud. Such cloaks were worn only by the highest chiefs as a sign for their semi-divine rank. She stopped to take a closer look at the cloak. It's incredible. And there's more. Listen. A cloak like this has the size... A cloak this size has been estimated to contain 450,000 feathers. I stepped closer and saw that the cloak was in fact made of tiny feathers, all woven together, the same colour as those in Basil's lapel. It's amazing, said Mason. And highly valuable, said Dr. Sabine, coming over to join us. This is an incredibly rare piece, and before long it will be shifted up to its new owner, probably in a private collection where hardly anyone will see it. That's so sad, said Isla. It truly is, Isla, said Dr. Sabine. Right, have you found what you wanted? Can we just have 3 more minutes, Dr. Sabine? I said, 3 minutes and then you'll have to leave, she said, turning to go. Oh, and by the way, I'd love to know more about how you've managed to solve the painting so far. Do tell me all about it when I'm not so busy, won't you? We will, grinned Isla. As soon as Dr. Sabine had left, we gathered around the cloak and looked all around the case. Hang on, there's something pinned just inside the hemline, said Mason. It's in another language, Isla. She leant forward. It's Latin, she said. It says, Responsum oculus spectat... She looked at her phone. Let's see if I can translate it online, she said, tapping the screen. We waited, and then she slowly looked back at us. It says, the answer looks you in the eyes. What on earth does that mean? I said. I could see Isla's brain whirring. It's looking at us in the eyes. It's like he's saying the answer is staring us right in the face. I don't get it, said Mason. The clues are in the painting, and we are looking at them. He's stating the obvious. Of course the answer is staring us right in the face, but how can we solve it just by looking at it? We made our way out of the World Culture Collection and into the corridor. Isla had taken the museum leaflet out of her bag, and she placed a red circle where we found the last clue on the Hawaiian cloak. She studied it for a moment, then placed the map against the wall and drew lines between where each clue had been hidden. It made a very lopsided square, some edges made longer than others. Hang on, I said, grabbing the pen and the leaflet. How about if you draw a line diagonally, so from here to here? I drew the red pen from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, and then from the top right corner to the bottom left corner. In the centre of the square was a large X. For a second it reminded me of the vapour trails in my painting, A Sky in Blue. Oh wow, X marks the spot, said Mason. That's it, said Isla. That's where the treasure is hidden. Let's go. The X on the map was hovering in a space towards the front of the museum. As we headed there, I tried to think of where it could be. Behind the information desk? Or did one of the steps have hidden panels? When we got there, we crowded around the map and checked the position again. I banged my foot on the first few stairs, testing to see if they sounded hollow. Nothing. I looked all around and then it dawned on me. All of our running around from different areas of the museum trying to find the treasure had been a wild goose chase set by an artist with mischief in his mind. But I cracked it. I'd beaten Basil. I knew exactly where the treasure was. I've got it, I said. It's in the painting, of course. The answer is staring you in the face, and the X has led us back to the painting. The treasure must be hid somewhere inside the painting. In the frame, in the back, something like that. That's genius, said Mason, shaking his head. Oh, wow, said Isla. To hide the treasure inside the actual picture. Brilliant. We were all quiet for a moment as we realised what we'd done. We'd done it. We'd actually solved an enigma in oil. But when we turned to look up at the painting, all that was there was a bare section of wall. It's gone, said Isla. I think I'll leave it there. Not long left. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you. Take these off, and I will see you tomorrow.